Hi there, it's Liz Yule from Old Stables Crafts again. Thank you very much for joining me. Today's project is based on this one. This is the entry that I submitted for the Global Design Project Challenge number 77, which was issued on the 6th of March, which is actually the day that I'm filming this video. So the challenge was a colour challenge, which was to use Bermuda Bay, Peekaboo Peach, Early Espresso, and another colour of your own choice. So I added in, So Saffron, sorry, my brain went dead there for a moment. And by adding So Saffron, I was very close to the full colour palette for the Cupcakes and Carousels designer series paper, which I got as part of my pre-order for the spring summer catalogue. So I've had that for quite a long time now and I really haven't used it. Or I may have used it a couple of times, but really not at all. So it was a good excuse to dig it out. So that's what I've done here. I've used a sentiment from the Sentiment Suite, Sweet Sentiment stamp set, which is in the spring summer catalogue. Sorry, this is my dreadfully flagged catalogue, and it's right at the back. This is the back cover, and it's this one, Sweet Sentiments, and there are 11 sentiments, and they go with all of the sweets in the spring summer catalogue. So it's a really great set of stamps to get, so that you can add extra sentiments to some of the other sweets you've already got, or just have a few of the fonts from some of the sweets that you may not have, or you may have decided you didn't want. And we do, we all know that we have to draw the line somewhere. So I actually think this is a really great stamp set to get. So that's where this sentiment came from. But as ever, I'm going to change it up, and I'm also going to pick up on the challenge that I issued myself and then completely ignored, which is to use some of the Sending Love paper, which again was in the spring summer catalogue and was really aimed at sorry, this is the Cupcakes and Carousel. It was aimed at Valentine's Day, so it was this suite, which you're not going to be able to see all of it, but and if you may remember, or you may have spotted, that I did issue myself with a challenge to use particularly the papers in the stamp set for some non-Valentine's projects, and I completely forgot, so I'm picking up on that. So I'm using a sentiment from Dragonfly Dreams because I wanted something that was sort of narrow. So I'm using the To a Wonderful Friend sentiment. And then because the Sending Love papers are Real Red and Whisper White, I've got the Real Red ink pad. I have a sponge dauber, which because that's the sort of person I am, I have labelled up so that I know it's Real Red. I've got a piece of Real Red cardstock, which I've cut in half, and I've scored at 4 1/8, which makes it's a nice place to crease to make a standard A6 card. I'll pop that to one side for the moment. Then a piece of designer series paper cut at 5.5 by 3 3/4, which is 14 by 9.5 centimetres. Don't worry about writing down dimensions, they will be on the associated blog post, which is below here. Then I've got standard Whisper White, which is cut at my normal bigger mat, which is 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, 14 1/4 by 9 3/4. And then I've got some strips of the designer series paper that are all cut at 1 inch width. I've pre-flagged them using the triple banner punch, and I've also inked the edges of both of these and the designer series paper matte purely for time saving. I will be inking the edges of and using the punch for the sentiment, which I'm going to put on a piece of Whisper White that is 1 inch wide. It's just over 4 inches long. That's a fairly arbitrary length. It needs to be long enough to take the sentiment plus maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I have also pre-cut because actually, let's bring this back in. On the original, I don't know how well you can pick up. I'm trying to get light. There's a window here, so I'm hoping that the light from the window is picking that up. I've got little spots of Bermuda Bay glimmer paper, which I made using the 1/8 handheld circle punch, and I've pre-punched some in the red glimmer paper just to save time, but I'm keeping this just in case I need a few more. But this is why I always keep my scraps of glimmer paper, because you wouldn't want to punch little holes in a big piece, but to do it in a scrap like this is fine. So let's get started. Bring in my piercing mat, just because the sentiment is on photopolymer, so it's best to have a bit of sponge behind. Real red ink, so light tapping, and it really is light tapping. You don't want to push hard. You shouldn't get any ink on the stamp other than on the sentiment itself, so you don't want it on the background of the stamp. And then just line it up so that it's reasonably straight. Press down, and you're pressing firmly but not hard. And there we are. I'm going to bring in actually just as a, so if I ink it up again correctly, actually I'm going to over ink it so I can show you what over inking. This is over inked. So you can see that it's not only on the block, but it's also on the background of the stamp. That is over inked. And then if I put it on here and push this too hard, I'm going to bend the paper, but also I'm picking up, I mean obviously I've pressed it deliberately hard, I'm also picking up the ink from the photopolymer, the background of the stamp. So that's not what you want to do. I'll get rid of this for the moment, pop my stamp to one side and clean that up with the Stampin' Scrub. I'm going to flag the end of my sentiment, so just into the, actually I'll do it from the back and the other way around. I'm going to put it into this punch, and then if I push it far enough, it just so happens that I can just see the end of the sentiment there. So if I bring it back, I know that I've got a reasonable distance between the end of the sentiment and the flag. So pop that to one side. Don't need my mat anymore. So the Bermuda Bay glimmer paper is one of the new Celebration items, because we've got 3 new items that were added on the 21st of February, and it's one of those. It's a part of a stack. It's a 6x6 stack, which has 4 each of 3 colours of limited edition glimmer paper, which is Bermuda Bay, Mint Macaron and Sweet Sugar Plum. They are lush. You will, if you've seen my other videos, you will have seen the colours in the welcome card that I did for my new team members who've joined me in the last couple of weeks. So there we are, that's nicely inked up. So yeah, it's certainly worth having a look at if you have an order to put in. Right, so I'm just going to layer these up. I don't want them lined up so that they're all the same length. And I do want it to show that there's white and red layers, if you see what I mean. So I don't want red on red and white on white fully. So I'll do it like that, and then no, I think I want that one a bit shorter. Maybe that back a bit. I want to make sure that the ends are reasonably together, and then what I want to do is make sure that it's not so long that it's going to come off the edge of my card, which it is. So we'll bring this one back. Yeah. Oh, and then of course I squish them all together. Which is why the next step is to start sticking things down. Yep, that'll work. Right, okay, so with a bit of fast fuse, I am just going to pop these layers together. So I'm not using much, it's just so that I know that they are stuck, and so I can start handling them without having to clasp them together. So that's really all I need. And then I'm going to curl these edges or ends to give a bit more life to the piece. But first of all, I'm going to line it up. Actually, I'll stick this down. I seem to have managed to run out of snail, as in I can't find a snail that's got any tape left in it on my desk. So we'll just put some fast fuse on, which is fine, but you don't need fast fuse for this. Snail is more than adequate. I'd be tempted not to use multi-purpose glue, which is normally my favourite, only because with the designer series paper, particularly with the white, you could end up with it showing through just very slightly, and that's just not a nice look. So I want to line this up so that this is straight against the horizontal. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit further over. I'm going to bring in a pair of scissors that are not my snips, because I think to ask my snips to go through 5 layers at once is a bit much. But all I'm going to do is run the blade of my scissors. I'm sort of pushing, lining it up again. I'm going to push the top blade of my scissors so that it's flat against the edge of the card, and then just cut. So I'm not actually cutting this card, it's just the bits underneath. So there we are. And I'm then just going to make sure that the ends are properly stuck down, because although I want one end to be lifted up, I don't want this end to be lifted up. So actually that I will use glue for, because it's easier to get into. Just a little bit there. I think that will do me. Okay, so then I'm just going to turn it over and I'm going to curl the ends of my flags. So yes, Celebration, £45 qualifying order. If you haven't put your order in yet, please don't delay, because the end of March is looming. And for every £45 you spend, you get an extra free item. So if you spent £90, you'd get 2 free items, 133, etc, etc. I'm just going to put some ink on the end here, just so it looks a bit more finished. Having said that, if you were spending £90, I'm just going to put some fast fuse down here. If you're looking to spend £90, then you may want to look at the starter kit. It really is brilliant value at the best of times, but during Celebration, I'm lining up with the matte rather than the fast fuse there, rather than the paper. During Celebration, you get to pick 2 free stamp sets, and by free stamp sets I don't mean 2 Celebration stamp sets to add to your order. You get to choose any 2 stamp sets from the annual or spring-summer catalogue. In fact, those are the first 2 items you will be asked to put in your basket when you place your starter kit order. I'm just going to take some of the glimmer paper that I've pre-punched and scatter it over the card. And there's no particular reason. I do quite like a triangle round the sentiment, but other than that, there's no real rhyme or reason for where I'm putting little dots, other than I'm putting little dots. So I would love to welcome you to my team if that's what you wanted to do. You would get, in addition to the £130 plus the 2 free stamp sets, all for £99 without having to pay any postage. It's £99 including postage. You also get 20% off all your orders after that. It starts at 20%, and then after you've placed a certain number of orders, it would actually go up to 25%. But even if you didn't place that many orders, you get to 20% off from when your starter kit arrives until the end of July. So really is the best deal on during celebration. It's the best deal at any time, but certainly during celebration. Right, I have previously put a small dot of multi-purpose glue on the end of my piercing tool. It gives just enough tackiness to pick up small items. You have to be a little careful because it can pick up, give you so much tackiness that you can't actually then get them off the end of your pokey tool. But it seems to be playing, or piercing tool I should say, seems to be playing, it's being a little naughty but not too bad. But it just makes it a little easier to pick up these tiny weeny things that if it was a rhinestone that had glue on the end, I'd use the piercing tool point to pick up the item, but this hasn't got glue on the end, so I'm using my tacky end, if that makes any sense at all. So, did I say, this is the third time I've recorded this video because for various reasons it wasn't playing ball. So if I haven't already said, which I don't think I have on this version, I'm going to be doing a giveaway when my subscriber numbers on my YouTube channel, so here, hits 500. It's currently standing at 440, so we're getting very close. But when we hit 500, I will be giving a giveaway. Giving a giveaway? Doing a giveaway. If you're not already subscribed and you would like to see some more videos from me and, say, have a chance with the giveaway, then please subscribe now. There's a link below this video, but there's also going to be a link at the end of the video. There will be a picture of me, which is a link to subscribe. So then you will get a notification, where else do I fancy one? You will get a notification of when I post videos, which means you won't miss out on the chance to get some freebies from me. So yeah, I think that's not going to be far away if everything goes the way it's going at the moment. Right, okay, so now let's bend this and fold this card base in half. Get my bone folder back in. So yes, lots of exciting stuff going on at the moment. Bring in some dimensionals because I'm going to pop the layer up, which is what I did on the original. So I'm going to do it again. Of course, I've now got dimensionals everywhere and can't pick the card up. You may want, if you're actually posting this, to put a few more dimensionals on, but I shan't at the moment. I wouldn't put too many more on. I'm going to sneeze. I apologise. Excuse me! I don't know where that came from, but it came and it's gone. So many apologies for that little outburst. So yes, lots of exciting stuff going on, particularly on my YouTube channel. Remember to also go over to my blog post because you'll see all the information about putting this together, product list. There's a link to my online store in the description below this video, but there's more information on my blog. And it's a new address. It's similar but not quite the same as it was. So it's just Old Stable Crafts, one word. So Old Stables crafts.co.uk. So, but if you've got the old address, then that will still work. It will still pop through, so that's fine. Right, so there you are. The original and the new version. As I say, I don't think that says Valentine's at all, other than being red and white. You wouldn't know that it was using Valentine's paper. It's got a few little hints of hearts, but you're sending something to a wonderful friend, so why wouldn't you? So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and that's all great. So thank you very much indeed for joining me today, and I will see you again soon. Bye.